Welcome to Beyond the Box. Inside, outside, upside, downside, beyond the box.
Break it down.
Our guests are insiders, now on the outside and the right side, dropping truth and nuclear intel bombs and breaking it down just for you. And now it's time to meet your hosts and co-host. Your hosts of Beyond the Box are Brenda Lankart and Suzanne Hott. Brenda Lankart is host of Beyond the Box and retired law enforcement. Joined by Suzanne Hott, host of Beyond the Box, Joel's Indoor Arena and Event Center, and White Horse Productions. Their co-host is Brian Sang, co-host Beyond the Box, Full Disclosure Now Movement, fulldisclosuremovement.org. This show is for entertainment purposes only. And now discover new boundaries beyond the box. Inside, outside, upside, downside. Beyond the box begins now.
Break it down.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Beyond the Box, our 51st episode. Boy, I'll tell you, it's been a rough one. How you been today, Susie?
I've been good. Yeah, I've been good. It's been a nice hot day today.
Yeah, no kidding, here too. Well, we're in the same state, so I reckon the sun isn't any different. So, hello, Sherry, Norma, Denise. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, hey everybody.
So tonight, as most of you know, because I've been advertising it, we have Dr. Dennis Carroll with us. And most of you already know all about him. And I kind of have been watching him for a while. Started off on a different show he used to do and just carried over. And I was supposed to have him come on the weekend before I ended up in the hospital. And I'm so glad he was still willing to come on. I felt so bad. I'm in the hospital dying, going, I'm so sorry, Dennis. It was horrible. But so we have him with us tonight. Tommy will be along shortly. I think. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he said he was going to be here. So Susie, you need to go water your.
Brenda,
You need to go water your.
I have a question.
Oh, what's your question?
I did. Did you get the same order I did? We're just both wear pink or something tonight, or what is that?
Oh my gosh, we were dressing in the same closet, I think. I'm gonna laugh if Tommy comes on wearing that salmon shirt.
Oh my
That's it, it's done. We all better stop remoting each other. That's all I can say.
Right?
So Susie, you want to kick us off with our normal prayer at the beginning of our show to make sure that we all stay safe and humble?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to ask the Father in Jesus' name, just to protect everybody, and I ask him that we are open to Dennis. I don't know Dennis, but we talked a little bit just before the show, and God bless him, because I really like him. I don't even know him yet, and he's just seems like such a smart and sensible person. So I just pray that that we're all going to glean a lot of information tonight. We are going to be talking about dark witches and warlocks and things like that, and so it's not going to be a pretty subject, but hopefully that this subject will enlighten people so that we can be a little bit wiser in this world and more protected. And I ask that in Jesus' name.
Yes, in Jesus' name. All right. So I see no Tommy yet, so I'm going to go ahead and bring Dennis out. Hello there, Dennis.
Good evening, ladies. Hello, Susie, Brenda.
I am so glad you're here.
It's kind of a dark, stormy night outside. It's kind of Dracula weather out there. Yeah,
I
definitely.
was. We were looking outside, and over Fort Hood, there is just clouds of brewing over there. That place needs to be washed out, anyways. But still. So I'm hoping I don't
Typical
really get hit
summer
with
weather.
that here.
It's typical summer weather. It's unsettled usually. You never know when a storm's going to come up. But that's the way it goes. And I think we've got a tropical storm brewing in the Gulf out here.
Yeah.
So we may get that in the south. I'm in the southeast, so we'll probably get some of that by next week.
They were saying there was like 3 of them. They showed one off of the California coast, and then one down by Florida, and then another one up by you guys. So yeah.
Getting active.
It kind of makes me wonder if somebody's playing with it. I don't know. I don't know how much to believe in. I find it amazing. I could be outside and it'd be a bright, nice, sunny day. And, we're in Texas. So if a storm is going to brew, we usually see it coming from a ways. But then all of a sudden, these clouds will move in like a rush of ants and just bam. And it's like, where'd that come from?
Well, it's like I told somebody not long ago, and it's just like the weather is not like it used to be. It has definitely changed in our lifetime for some strange reason, for whatever that may. I think somebody's been manipulating it a little bit. But since we're going to be talking about witchcraft tonight, that is supposed to be one of the premier powers of witchcraft, and that is to create bring up storms, and especially windstorms. That's the specialty of dark witches. Just one of their specialties. They're really good at doing some bad stuff. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, somebody was telling us they seen one in a parking lot. This woman was staring at them, and she just did something with her hands, and all of a sudden a storm moved in out of nowhere. And it's like, well, look at there.
Well, I've talked to people about that really what a lot of these people are doing. And actually, I'm writing a book about that right now. It's called, working title only right now, is called The God Game. And these people are playing a game of gods. Yes. Basically, that's what they're doing. They're trying to become gods, and they're hooking into demonic power to get that. And you see a lot of this going on. Look at all the rituals you see on stage being performed nowadays. Yep. A lot of this is coming out of the shadows. I was telling the other day, just in the last couple of months, I have had tons of reports on vampires. Where is that coming from? When you're hearing all this stuff, this activity is increasing daily. But I remember many, many years ago, Billy Graham wrote a book called Angels, God's Secret Agents. And he said something very interesting in that book. He said that the day comes when you see demonic activity increasing, you will know something is coming down the line. And I think we're seeing that day today. Yes. Absolutely. But, these people that are, here's the bad thing, okay. Bad enough that you've got demonic forces aligned against them. Now you've got people helping them. So you've got this demonic human coalition going on. That's not good. But these people are after power. That's what it's all about. Control of energy and power, money, all else, because they are actually seeking immortality. It's kind of like that song, Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places. They're looking for immortality in all the wrong places, okay? But that's what they're up to. And look, what will good? I told somebody this the other day. What good is all the money, glory, fame, power world are going to do you if you got to die and leave it one day? Okay. That's what
True.
they're all about, this mortality game. But that's what you deal, and you will run. We will all run into sooner or later, and I have on many occasions. You will run into these people who are aligned with dark forces, and you may trigger them. You may get their attention the bad way, and you will have to deal with them. Absolutely. And you got to know just how dangerous that is, because they do have a dark, demonic, diabolical power that
Yes.
they can use. Absolutely.
Wow. So I knew when I wanted to know about witchcraft and some of the dark magic and dark arts that you were the one that I needed to contact. Definitely. Because I have sat and watched numerous shows of yours, not only your one that you do now, but from a different podcast. And I've always sat and listened to you, and I've always thought to myself, man, I'd love to pick that man's brain. Because your brain's intelligent. I mean, it is just way over the top with this stuff. So I knew I had to get a hold of you, and you would be the right person to bring that all out.
Mhm. Well, I've been dealing with this now for 55 plus years. I'm not going to say how old I am, but it's been a long time. And I have seen it in all its ins and outs, you might say. I know how they work. I know how they manipulate people. You know, if you look at some people sometimes and you wonder about maybe some of these politicians that come out of nowhere with all that money. I don't know about you. Nobody ever gives me any money, okay?
Right?
Well, they come out of nowhere. They come out of nowhere with this power and this money. And you got to ask one important question: where are they getting it? Where's it coming from? You know, the
Uh,
origins of things are what we got to look at. This is like following dark money. Where is it coming from, and where is it going? That's what you got to ask. You got the questions you got to look at, and you got to wonder about these people. Where is their base of power coming? You know, you got to be careful. But I like it because you start this show with a prayer of protection. I've started having to do that on my own shows because we are getting tremendous amount of demonic interference. Okay, because they do not want these messages out. They do not want to be pulled out of the shadows. I'm doing a series on my show right now called Hunting the Shadows, and it's called The Shadow Behind the Shadows.
yep.
And what is that? It's a diabolical shadow that's behind the evil shadows. And they don't want to be pulled out tonight. But yet, here's the interesting thing about evil, okay? And I can only say one good thing about evil, and this is it.
Uh-oh. I have to
Dennis,
Only
say
good
something, but
thing
he's
about it.
wearing
It is
he's
ridiculous.
wearing the matching shirt. What
Sometimes,
the heck?
especially when
Look at the
dealing with
shirt.
dark witchcraft,
I can't see
these
anything.
people give themselves away when the things that they do. That's what you got
right.
to watch for. They always
De-
overplay their hand.
Dennis, this is Tommy. He's one of our other co-hosts. And apparently the three of us all decided to get dressed in the same closet because
We've
we're all
lost
wearing the
sound
same
here.
color.
It's a uniform.
Uh-oh.
But Tommy, this is Dennis.
Hey Dennis, how you doing? I don't have a visual.
You don't have visual tonight?
Nope.
Tommy is a targeted individual. He used to play football at Virginia Tech, where he was one of their football stars, and so is his father. They both wear the
You want
they
me
both
to
wear the same
go back out
number.
and come back in again? I've lost sound completely here.
Oh no, you did
Oh.
not. Uh-oh.
I see Tommy. What happened?
Hang on. Dennis lost sound again.
Oh no.
Okay, I will go back out and come back in, okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So he didn't hear anything you said, Brenda.
Oh, probably not.
Tommy, me and Brenda decided to wear the same color shirts by some strange, thing, and she said you probably were going to come in that light colored shirt, like,
I said, I
and
swear if
look
he's
like
wearing
us.
the same shirt, we've all got dressed in the same closet.
So, yeah,
Every single
we're
one of
all
us.
on the same page today, apparently. Okay.
Right? Y'all bear with us. Dennis is Oh, hang on. Let me kick this one. Let me kick that one. Okay. Can you hear us now, Dennis?
Yep, I hear you fine.
All right.
All right.
Dennis, this is Tommy Edwards. He
Yeah,
is
that
also,
glitch in the matrix here.
yeah.
A glitch in the
He's,
matrix.
Tommy is one of our other co-hosts.
He changed shirts.
Look at he changed shirt. Tommy, you butt. But anyways,
We can't hear Tommy.
he used to play for Virginia Tech. He was one of Virginia Tech's football stars. So was his father, and they both wore the same number jersey, number 33. Of course, it has to be 33. And he's a targeted individual. So a lot of times he has problems with his phone when he's on here because he gets targeted while he's on here. Let's see. I've had the military knock on my door while we were live. So we're kind of used to it, Dennis. But Dennis is going to go through.
I know you run into these things from time to time. I've run into a lot of them on my podcast too.
Right. But Tommy, Dennis is going to go over witchcraft and dark magic with us tonight.
Nice.
Because, we've had a lot of mumbo jumbo going on. So, but anyways, sorry, Dennis, for the interruption and the spiel of your
the
sound.
late entry.
Okay.
But as I was saying earlier, we do have a lot of this going on around in the world around us, and it is affecting our everyday lives in many aspects. And you've got these people exercising this diabolical power to obtain the power that they want, mainly to control. And like I said earlier before the show when we were talking, witchcraft is basically the control of energy, whether it is dark energy or light energy, whatever the situation it is, it's still a control, a manipulation of the reality of the energy around us. Put it that way. I don't want to get real technical, but that's basically what it is. That's what the incantations and the spells, the curses, and all that are geared to manipulating reality the way we want it to go. In certain aspects of dark witchcraft, you can obtain levels of different levels of power. You can go up the rung of the ladder, you might say, but it requires a very dark and evil price to do that, level by level. The more you do, the worse things you have to do to acquire. That can include murder, can include torture of animals and people. The list goes on and on. What these diabolical powers require of you. It's like my grandmother used to say many years ago, and it's something that's stuck in my mind for my whole life. She said, if you give the devil an inch, you'll take the ruler. And that's the way these diabolical forces work. The more you get in league with them, the more that you ask from them, the more they get from you. Usually your soul, to a certain extent. And that's what you're basically doing. The more you cooperate with this darkness, whether it be witchcraft, Satanism, vampirism, whatever the situation, and really they're all connected, okay? They really are. All of them are connected. They just have different names and titles, but they all work under the same, you might say, diagram of things that they need to do. But the more you ask of them, the more that darkness gets in you. It changes you, warps you, twists you, bends you, molds you into the way they want, that these forces of darkness want you to be. They change you completely. And that is how you really basically sell your soul to the darkness. That's the way it goes. Eventually, you end up being what they want you to be, and you lose your humanity. So,
Well, I'm really glad that certain things turned out the way they did. And that was just taken from our lives because it's definitely something. Susie is a very spiritual person. This girl has read the Bible upside down, inside out, in different Bibles at least 7 times. And that is something that she is such a good-hearted person. And the advantage was there. It didn't change her, thank God. So we just kind of
Let me tell you something. If you are a Christian, if you pray a lot, you have already a hedge of protection around you. You have that positive light that here's my favorite, one of my favorite biblical passages, Romans, I think it's Romans 13:12. For the night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness and let us put on the armor of light. And that's
Amen.
what we need to be as believers. We need to wear that armor of God, that armor of light. And that's what's going to keep safe against these things. And I'll tell you what, I have heard witches, dark witches, complain. I tried to do this to so and so, I tried to do this, and it bounced off. It just bounced off. They can see that hedge of prayer around people like that, and it doesn't work against their powers cannot work against them. But you
Well,
got to
we're
watch out.
right.
Here's the thing, and here's what I tell everybody. Let me say this right quick. You got armor on, but you got to watch out because the armor has chinks. You got to be careful. You got to guard those weak spots. That's what they're looking for.
Yep.
Okay, that's the number one.
I was just going to tell you that where we screwed up was we trusted, and so we let our guard down.
I don't mean it's like opening the door in your house when you
Yeah.
let somebody in. You invite them in, then they have power. Do you know they have? That's the way the vampires work and all these other things. And people say the vampires are not real. Oh, they are definitely real because I have met them face to face. Okay, they do exist. Werewolves are real. These things are all connected to the diabolical powers that are out there. Okay, in certain aspects of witchcraft, you can rise up the ladder of power. You can become a vampire. You can become a werewolf. You can be a shaker. Okay, that's a premier power they will give you, but you have to do terrible things. The price is your soul for that. Okay,
Right.
but that's the way that rolls. But that stuff is real. This is not just made up. I said when I was a kid, I used to like to watch monster shows. Monster movies. I was a big fan of that. And I grew up to find out, without a doubt, that the monsters are real. They're us. Okay,
Yeah.
they're us. That's the bad thing about it. And any human can sell over to the darkness and take it in and let it manipulate them and use them, because that's what all these diabolical forces are doing. They're using people as tools to get and do the things they want. I have held several seminars on the fact that we are dealing with fallen angels. We are dealing with the Nephilim that are still with us. The spirit of the Nephilim are still here.
Giants.
We're dealing with all that, and they are using people as their tools to accomplish the master plan that they have had for mankind all along. And that is what we're dealing with today. And that is why witchcraft is rising more now than I have ever seen it in my lifetime.
Wow. Susie, did you have anything you wanted to ask about? I know you're listening intensely.
I am. I'm listening to you. I'm thinking about so many of my little stories. Like one time I had a thing with Zeus, who is he's a evil, should we say, Greek god, and he started. I left my house. He started shooting lightning bolts at me, and in front of my truck. He just kept the whole way into town. He just kept trying to shoot these lightning bolts, and it kept hitting in front of the truck. And when I got to the Walmart, he started like shooting the Walmart, trying to get me. And I just laughed at him, and I'm like, because I'm like, I feel like what you were saying. I had a situation on the phone one time with a bunch of preachers, and they actually turned out to be dark people, and they called up the demon, um, that they said that I said I was praying for my ex-husband at the time. They had a demon, and they called this demon up, and the demon got on the phone, and he said, I can't do anything to her because she has a hedge of protection around her, and it said it on the phone. So it is true what everything you're saying is exactly true. We are dealing with forces that are beyond us, and that we do need that. We do need that prayer. We do need that protection, and we need to make sure we don't have those, like you said, chinks in our armor. We have
Yeah.
to put on. We have to. We can't give the devil a foothold or a way in to get at us. Is I agree.
You know,
Well,
Dennis, not
the
to
reason
get off.
is, uh, we've been in law enforcement. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. You've got a target on your back.
Yep.
Okay, and I've lived with that for many years, and I think Brenda has. You know what I'm talking about. You got a target
You're,
on your back. It's fixing on you. Okay, you got to remember that. But let me say
yes.
one more thing about these gods, so-called gods, Zeus, Odin. The list goes on and on. There's a bunch of them. Those are nothing but facsimiles of the demonic. That's all they are. That's the demonic demons are egotistical maniacs. Okay, they want to be worshipped as gods. I call them tenpenny gods. Okay, they're not the real thing, but that's what they want to be. They want to be gods. They want to be gods, and that's why they masquerade as that sometimes. We've got to understand that the things that we're dealing with in this world may not be what they really appear to be. But absolutely, the demonic. Have you ever heard of Lester Sumrall,
I
Yeah.
have.
Susie?
Yeah.
Excellent man. That man he was a premier spiritual warrior.
Yeah. He
He
was
dealt
attacked
with
by
a
that
lot of
demon in the bed one time.
he
I remember read that story. Yeah.
on his head overseas because he
Mhm.
would go into the Buddha where Buddha was and other things, and they would say, "Oh, this is our God," and he talks to us and he said, "Yeah, your God's a demon." Oh, they hated that. They really wanted to kill him for saying that, but he was telling the truth. He said, "Your gods are demons. That's what you're worshiping." Okay, um, that's what that's the plan they've had for man all along. They want to fool us into being their false gods. They want to be our false gods because, as Jesus said in the Bible, who is the God of this world? It is
Mhm.
Satan.
Yep.
He has stolen this world from God. He's stolen everything from God. God's going to get it back one day, by the way. I read the book.
Oh,
Okay.
yes. I think he's already on his way.
And that's what's going on. He's in control of all this right now. And when we talk about the end of the world, we're not talking about the end of the world in existence. We're talking about the end of the world system that is in place. Okay,
Yes.
and that's what's coming down the line.
You know, Dennis, not to throw us off of anything, but there's something that I want to bring up with you that I want Susie to tell you about. I know that you have extensively researched serial killers. Okay. Do you remember what was their names, Susie?
Uh, Henry Lee Lucas and Otis Toole.
Do you remember them?
Yeah,
Otis
I've heard of that. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
familiar with that. Yeah.
Well, Susie was in Florida one day. And Susie, do you want to tell Dennis about now? If this does not tell you about God's miraculous power, y'all, I don't know what will. But Susie, you want to tell Dennis about what happened when you encountered them?
Yeah, they gave me and my girlfriend a ride from a bus stop. We were gonna catch a bus to my mom's house in Jacksonville, Florida, and got us in the car. I didn't want to get in the car, but my girlfriend was like, "Come on, let's go for a ride. We'll get a ride." And I'd rather take a bus, but we ended up with them, and they ended up driving us around town. We went by their family. They went to this bar, and then they finally said they were going to take me to my mom's house, but they pulled us off a dirt road and off the side of the road along the St. Johns River in Jacksonville, Florida, because that's where they lived. And it was in 1979, so I was 19 years old at the time. And they basically, um, Tool was driving the car. Lucas was sitting in. He was a passenger. My girlfriend and I were in the back seat, and he asked me to get out. And he at that point he said, "Hold on a second," and he stuck his head back into the car to talk to Lucas. And at that point, I was going to pick up a rock and hit him upside the head and make a run for it. Um, but I heard the voice of God say in an audible voice there in the woods. He said, "I heard, trust me." And I said, "Trust you? How can I trust you? I can't even see you. How am I going to trust an invisible God to protect me here against this person?" Because I knew that they were going to kill me. And he turned around and told me that his friend was acting weird and that he was going to walk me to the road and get him out of the car. And at that point, he then told me he proceeded to say he was going to rape me and kill me and throw my body into St. John's River. He was going to do to me everything that everybody had done to him. I was going to, he was going to take it out on me. And I looked at him and I said to him, "Do you know that Jesus loves you?" And he said to me, "What? You mean to tell me I tell you I'm going to kill you and you tell me that Jesus loves me?" And I said, "Yes, even if nobody in this whole world doesn't love you, he does." And at that point, he kind of shook it off and he went to grab me and I jumped away from him and he grabbed me by the ankle and I got up and I kicked his hand off my ankle and I started to run away from him. But I turned my head back over my shoulder to look back because he was behind me because I wanted to know how close he was, so I knew how fast I had to run away from him. And when I did, his face was right behind me. I mean, he was like right on top of me. And when I looked at his face, he had hit a invisible wall, and he splattered against an invisible wall. And
Yeah.
at that point, I took off running. And what were you saying, Dennis?
I said he hit an angel. That's what
Yeah.
the invisible wall he hit was an angel. I wouldn't doubt that a bit. But as much as I've studied about the demonic, I like the angelic a whole lot better. Okay, and we could sit here this time tomorrow night and talk angel stories. It's fascinating the stuff there. But that you had that with you there that day. You had a guardian angel, absolutely, without a doubt. You just couldn't see him, but he was there.
Yeah, my invisible wall showed up. My invisible God showed up and protected me. And the police showed up, and my girlfriend was taken, and I went and prayed all night on a church step that she would be okay. And Lucas had raped her in the hotel room, and they released her. And the next day, she came back home, and she said to me that Tool sat there. He was a cannibal, a Satanist cannibal who liked to eat his victims. They confessed to over 600 murders, maybe 1,000 murders. They worked for the Hands of Death, the CIA across the United States. They were assassins, murderers, serial killers. And Tool sat there in a chair, and all he said was, he said, she had God, she had God, she had God. Later down the road, many years later, Lucas or Tool, Henry Lucas, who was in prison, he got arrested in Bastrop, Texas, where I lived years later. Like he was there. It was really strange. But he ended up having an encounter with Jesus twice in his cell. And he turned his life over to Christ. And God told him that he was to confess everybody he ever killed, where they were buried, and that he was to tell the truth, that so that God could answer all the prayers of the people praying for their loved ones, to know the truth behind it. So he wrote a book. He had a guy wrote a book called Max Call called The Hand of Death. And if anybody wants to know the real story about his conversion to Christ and his confession to all these murders, that would be the book to read, called The Hand of Death. So that's kind of how that story turned out.
Well, I heard that he did convert, and that it was sort of the answer to prayers that they would find out where those bodies were. I think that was definitely part of it, absolutely. But I've studied serial killers because I saw a long time ago that, like that shadow I said, the shadow behind the shadow, there was a darkness behind their human evil. Okay, I have looked into the eyes of serial killers, and the only thing looking back was inhuman. It was not human anymore. It was not It was definitely not good. Their eyes get completely dark. Now, I'm not talking about the whites part, but I'm talking about the irises. Well, you can actually see evil in people's eyes. It is very true that the eyes are the windows of the soul. Absolutely. And you
Okay.
can see that. And there is a darkness there when you look into people like Charles Manson or David Berkowitz and all these other guys like that. The ones that are well known. There are a lot of that are not well known. That are not famous. But there is definitely inhuman evil pushing this human evil, without a doubt.
When I was in Malibu in 2004, um, I was pursuing a music career, and I had met somebody that was wanting to put some money behind me as an artist, and the uh, the deal and the contract and stuff was drawn up over the course of several days of partying and days and nights, and they hadn't had any sleep for a couple of days, and all I wanted to do was take a nap. And this guy, the investor, stood over me and was praying, um, and but he was loudly, speaking in a way that was antagonistic. And when I looked up at him, the look in his eyes, exactly what you just described. There's no iris, and the look, his body language and his facial expression, and that evil peering through, in the juxtaposition of the prayer, was chilling. Um, there was $3.5 million on the table, and I was homeless at the time. I was living in my truck, and I made my way out of there, and didn't end up signing the thing, and then I quietly left town and moved to San Diego to get away from just that whole thing. That was a CIA operation. I was being programmed, and it was quite frightening. And it's on a back note, the Henry Lucas was raised in Blacksburg, Virginia, where I went to college. It's like 15 minutes from where I am right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, interesting thing about all this is we have to be very careful what we let into our lives. Okay, the contracts we sign, the deals we make, the people we meet. There was a reason why our mothers taught us not to take things from strangers. Okay,
Yeah.
once you take something, whatever it may be, whether it's a spell, curse, hex, dark contract, whatever the situation is, it's yours. Once you take it, it's yours. Okay, and there's only certain ways to get rid of it. All right, after you get it, and sometimes it's very hard to get rid of, definitely. But we have to be very careful. And I would say this also: we need to be very careful about what we have in our houses, and we need to look around every now and then and check everything and make sure there's not unknown object there, because they can leave these things. There can be traps, and like you said, Tommy, that was a trap being set for you.
Oh yeah.
Probably that was,
It,
yeah.
it,
And
it felt like it felt
we
like
have
God.
that. We have that a lot in the world today. And we need to watch about objects being in our houses, things that we get, deals that we come up with. They come up with for us sometimes. We've got to be very careful.
Now, Tommy, that doesn't mean the easel that I bought you to make it easier for you to paint is bad.
I know.
Okay.
That was
Now,
one of
Dennis, Denise wants to know, and I think she's talking about the witchcraft stuff, um,
Hmm.
or it could be serial killers, but I think they go hand in hand. If you think that people are actually born bad like that, or if it's something that they pick up along the way.
There can be that demon seed, it is called. You are aware of the incubus and the succubus.
Yes.
Okay, the incubus and the succubus. Uh, the uh, the uh, the incubus, which is what attacks the woman, and the succubus, of course, is what goes with the man. Now, if the succubus has sex with a man, it can take the male sperm and then turn around as an implant it in the female. You have what is known as demon seed. This is a roundabout way of doing the Nephilim thing. Okay, it's still not. I'm not going to say this is common everyday thing. It does happen. Okay, and that's what you have the demon seed. And absolutely, some people are born this way with that influence. Now they may be. Let me put it this way: they may be 89% human, and the rest may not be. Okay. You have some people like that. Some people are just born to be evil in that context. And well, look at Charles Manson. Just take him for instance. He
Oh
was
yeah.
abused as a child. As a child, he was raped by men. He spent most of his life in jail, in and out of jail. He was abused greatly, sexually and physically, and mentally abused. He had to kind of turn out the way he did because of the life and the way he was raised. But it's almost as if some people are predestined to be that way. And that is the demon seed.
Yeah, I've actually heard of that before. I didn't think
Call
of
it a
Charles
demon
Manson that
seed?
way, but yeah, demon seed.
Why do you call it a demon seed, Dennis?
No, the demon. It can also be transferred to you. You can have I'm gonna get kind of dirty here, okay? You can have sex with somebody, okay? You can have sex with a man that you don't really know, or have sex with a woman you don't really know. How do you know they're really a man or a woman?
True.
Sometimes you don't.
True.
They're not
Yeah.
be inhuman or diabolical in that respect. Let me say this, and I can tell you this without a doubt, as sure as we're sitting here tonight and we're drawing breath and living, okay? There are things out there walking around among us that look human but are not human.
I know
Okay.
that. I know that for a fact, Dennis. I'm right there by your side on that one. Yep. I've even seen them change in front of my face.
Same.
But
Oh
my
yeah, you'll catch it. You'll catch it every now and then. It slips every now and then,
well,
and
I have a
I think
very rare
well,
advantage.
let me say this. Somebody asked me the other day, and I'm gonna say this right quick. Somebody asked me, we're getting told stuff. We're being shown stuff. And it's not Hollywood doing it. It's
Nope.
not the screenwriters. Let me say, what does it say in the Bible? Everything that is secret will be revealed.
That is
Everything done in the dark will be brought to the light. Our God, our Creator, is doing that for us. He's warning us little by little. He's not throwing it all on us at one time, okay? He's showing us little by little. And when he shows us these things and we see the true image of some of this stuff, okay, that's where that's coming from.
Yep.
Definitely.
I,
Just like you were saved, Susie, from that situation. You were saved angelically, I do believe without a doubt. Okay. And you were saved, Tommy, from what you were getting into. He's looking out for us. Greater is the good in this world than the evil.
right.
Okay. You never hear that. We're always talking about the negative stuff. Okay. The
Right.
negative,
Right.
negative. Greater is the positive, good stuff out there if we'll only allow it to work in our lives and not hinder it. That's what
That's
we got to
right.
be careful.
I have a very unique skill when it comes to our little reptilian friends. Whether they be in their form or whether they be in a human form, no matter where I'm at in public, if one walks by me, I smell them. And it is a smell kind of like the very first time, Dennis, that you ever smelled death. It is a
They have a
smell that
snaky smell. I
yes,
call it a snaky
it's like
smell. Yeah.
garbage and sulfur and rotten eggs. Just, it is horrid. And they are very telepathic because when they walk by me and I smell them, I know who they are. And the whole entire time I'm in the store, they watch me. I don't know what for, Do they think I'm going to jump up out of my wheelchair and go running and saying, "Hey, man, you got something in here that's not a service animal"? I mean, I don't know why, but they'll keep an eye on me and watch me through the whole store. And I don't want to say that it is something special, because God knows I really wish I didn't know in some aspects, because it makes me think, God, what is this thing going to do when it leaves from here? Is it going to go find somebody's baby and eat it? I mean,
Yeah.
why is it here? What are they doing? I've always lived next to military bases. Being a military brat and married to the military twice, it's kind of been something that I've not been able to get away from. I've been below ground in some of these things. My father worked for Area 51, and I was, what was it, 7, 8 stories down in there. I've seen them in their form there. It's not pleasant. I don't really think that any human being or any child should ever have to look at those things in the face. And I was 5 the first time.
Do
So
you know that? Do you know? Let me say this right quick. You do know that in order to work in these bases, these underground dumps, as we call them, you have to sign an agreement that you will not mention the name of Jesus Christ while you're there. Why
Yeah,
is
I've heard that.
that?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
My grandmother worked in one, and she was a staunch Southern Baptist. Um,
Yeah.
hmm
It's kind of, I don't know if I want to say if it's scary to them, but it is something they
They know who
definitely,
holds the power.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's something they definitely don't
Well,
believe.
it clearly states in the Bible the name Jesus Christ, or Yeshua, whatever way you want to say it,
Right, Yeshua?
is the one name to which all power is given in heaven and earth. They can't stand that name.
Right.
Okay, they don't like it. But you talk about reptilians. Okay, that is their true form. Once upon a time, they were beautiful, perfect angels, beautiful to see, and they didn't look human. Okay, I mean they don't look like us in that respect in many
Right.
ways, but they were absolutely beautiful creatures. But they have fallen. They have lost that. They have corrupted themselves. Now they are like serpents and snakes and scorpions, as the Bible calls them. That's what they are. The lower demons are like scorpions. They're like basic animalistic type things. The higher
Monsters.
demons, the fallen angels, still have the intelligence that they have. They're very. You could have 100,000 lifetimes and not gain the knowledge they have. Okay, because they've been around that long. That's what their first names were, the Watchers. They watch everything, they learn everything. They know a whole lot more than you. Okay, you cannot match wits with them and think you're going to win, because you got to have God on your side in order for that to happen. Okay, without a doubt. But that's
Yes.
what your adversary is. And yeah, they look like snakes and serpents. Yeah, I've seen what their true form is. I have actually seen that it's enough to drive a sane person insane almost to see that. It is
And
that horrible.
I'm
Okay.
going to tell you, when I was 5, my biggest thing with them, I wasn't afraid. What I wanted to know, and my father tells me all the time, what I wanted to know was, I said to him, "Why do they smell so bad?" And he said, "Well, they live underground." And I said, "They don't have showers underground?" I mean, this coming from a 5-year-old, I wasn't afraid of it. Of course, I was told to stay back, but I wanted to know why it smelled so bad. That was my big thing. It was horrible. And I just couldn't fathom why its mommy didn't bathe it, because my mommy used to bathe me. I didn't smell that bad. So I would think, in the mind of a 5-year-old, I mean, I was always taught as a kid to play hide and go seek in the dark, so I wasn't afraid of the dark, you know? So maybe I was more curious as a child. Now, when I got older and this would happen, it's like, oh, man. I've always known they've been here. They've been here a long time.
Yeah.
And there's so many of
Well,
them. I think there are so
Dennis,
many of them that walk around us that
No matter how many showers they take, they're gonna always smell like that.
right. I'm
That,
going
that's
to agree with
their
you.
that's their spiritual makeup. Okay,
Yeah, there is
what
no
you're smelling there is the spiritual
right.
aspect of it. Okay, yeah.
Yes, there's no soap that's going to wash that stench off.
so
Well, they
Dennis,
do.
I'm really curious if you have any really good, experiences that you could share with us. Something,
Oh, hold off,
some
Susie.
powerful stories.
Dennis,
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you, Dennis, but we take a break at the top of the hour. We take a 5-minute break so everybody can go potty and do their thing before we come back. So
Uh,
we'll be doing that at 10 o'clock. That way we can all run and go do our thing. But okay, go ahead, Susie. I'm sorry. we got about 10 minutes left, so we're good.
Yeah, Dennis, I was just wondering if you could share maybe some experiences.
well, my own self personally, I have been in situations that really I shouldn't be here. Okay, put it that way. I have had a knife put to my throat. I have been shot at. I've had experienced a lot of things, and I think through it all, I had that guardian angel. I think there, I had somebody out for me, and it wasn't my time, it wasn't my place, and all that. So yeah, there are definitely instances in our lives when we can look back and say, "Hey, there was actually somebody definitely there after me," and I have seen that happen with other people in many instances. And like I said earlier, I like the angelic stories a whole lot more better than I've dealt with a lot of demons. I'd rather hang out with the angels. Okay, but the thing is, we do have, I think, an ever-present help that's there, but we just have to open our spiritual eyes sometimes to see these things, or try to anyway. If we could really see what's going on around us, we would probably be amazed. Absolutely, we would be astounded at what is, But I had a case one time where this young lady called me and called me on the phone, and she had seen me on television or something. I forget now exactly what it was. And she called me on the phone, and she had moved into this apartment with a baby. Now I don't know what her situation was, but she was alone. Okay, and this was a newborn baby, and she said, "Look, Dr. Carroll, there's something in this apartment with me, and it's not good. There's something here." And she lived in a split level apartment, like, there were two apartments together. She lived on one side, and there was the other side. And she said, "There's something in this apartment with me, and I'm scared for my baby." Okay. And while I'm talking to her on the phone, I can hear her. There's a voice comes in over her voice. And I cannot, even as a writer, I can't find words to describe what the way this voice sounded. Not human at all. Okay. And the voice overrode her voice, and it said, "This is my place." That's the way it said that. Well, I knew immediately what it was when I heard it. It was a demon on the phone. It's okay. Talk about your demonic interference. Okay.
Yeah.
And I asked her, I said, she said, "What's going on? I can barely hear you." She couldn't hear me anymore. And I spoke to the demon. I said, "Look, I know who you are, and I know what you are, and I'm coming there to throw you out of there. It's not you won't be your place anymore." Finally, the line cleared up, and I finished the conversation with her. And I asked her, "Did you hear that on the line?" She said, "No, I didn't hear anything." She said, "Your voice went way off, and it came back." But that's all I heard. I didn't tell her about what was on the phone because I didn't want to spook her. Um, but when we did get to her house, and we did the cleansing and all that for her, everything settled down. But the only thing was, they would not let me in the other apartment next door. You have to cleanse the whole area.
Right.
And believe me, I've done thousands of these. have had one single one fail, because that's the power of God, not me. I got nothing to do with it. Okay, that's the power of God. But they wouldn't let me in on the other side, unfortunately. And I think that thing was still on the other side over there with those people, but they wouldn't let me in. So you can only do so much. Would you want to do more? But you can't. But anyway, I cleansed her side, and she called me up later, and she said, "Oh, she was feeling better. The baby was doing okay, and everything." That's what you want to hear. And but that was very unique in the fact that was one of the first times I've had it happen since that a demon actually interfered with a telephone call.
Wow.
Yep. Yep.
That would kind of freak me out, I think, if I heard a voice on the phone that know that she was the only one there. I'd be like, "Hello, who is this? Who are you?"
Yeah, it's not a good feeling when you have a demon talking on the phone to you. And you know, that one that was on the phone when I was on the phone, he said, "I can't touch her. She has a hedge of protection." I can't even explain to you the level of evil and darkness that I felt, that it made me whimper and cry for hours that night, just because of the tone of evil that resonated from that voice, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna tell you this, okay? Just it's dealing with the demonic and witchcraft. The more acknowledgement you give it, the more power it gives it. Okay, the more you acknowledge it, the more power it accumulates. And these, just like that incident with the phone and some other things that, in of course, like somebody when they curse you with witchcraft, they can usually let you know that they know that, because that's part of the power of it, is the mind thing. Okay, but when you run into that and you give them that acknowledgement, and a lot of this demonic stuff is just theatrics. They're trying to spook you. They're trying to scare you. They're trying to get you fearful, because what is the enemy of faith? Fear.
Fear.
And that's the way they work, you see. And if they can get you fearful, nervous, scared, negative, that makes them.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay, what happened?
Okay.
Okay. Is
You
everybody
mentioned
back?
that demon named Fear, and you
I
know,
think we lost sound again.
yeah.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yeah. Dennis, can you hear me?
And I've lost your sound.
Oh,
Let me
Go back out and come back in.
let me
Yeah.
go back and come back again. I'll be right back. Okay.
okay.
Yeah, we were talking about fear.
Sherry,
and
Sherry, did you all see us pop off?
Yeah, she's just
And
back
come back
on.
in? I don't even know what happened or why that happened. Well, yes, I do.
Well, he mentioned the spirit of fear, and that's when everything went berserka, because fear is how they operate. The demons do gain a foothold or control over a person through fear. So that's why that scripture says that God doesn't give us a spirit of fear, but that of a sound mind. He's back. He's having trouble.
There you are.
Hi, Dennis.
This always happens. This always happens with some subjects. Okay.
Talking about the spirit of fear, and everything went crazy.
Right. At least we popped back on. But listen, everybody, we are going to take a 5-minute break. And when we get back, we're going to go ahead and touch on that witchcraft subject and some things that happened with me. And we are going to, we're going to get into that. So everybody just hang out. And, well, you know, Brenda, you did it again, you ding dong. I didn't pull up the video. But give us just a few minutes and we will be right back, y'all. Boom, we're back. Dennis, can you hear us?
All right, we're back.
Yep, there you're fine. Mm-hmm.
Right. We're good to go then. We can all hear each other and we can all speak. So now let's go ahead and get into our black pointed hat wearing people. Yes.
I mean, I got a black hat, but it's not pointy.
You got a black hat, but it's not pointed. Only when someone hits you upside the head and you kind of
Well,
throw
don't have a point.
How about
Don't have a pointed head.
people who
Yeah,
practice
there you go.
witchcraft? Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. People who
Let's,
practice witchcraft, right?
Let's doobie that.
Hey.
So Dennis, where do you think that originates from, witchcraft?
I think that, like I said earlier, a lot of witchcraft is basically a profession. It is a craft. It's a study of doing things and how things manipulate. Like I said earlier, it is controlling energy to a certain extent. And a lot of witchcraft is based in the mind, where you formulate things in the mind and you want to get that imagery going. That's why they chant over and over and over and over again, because what it's doing is reinforcing that image in your mind. Whatever it is you want to wish to do, whether especially if you want to harm someone, you think about it over and over and over again. It's almost giving it life. And, we have to remember that words have power. Okay, words do have a certain amount of power, for good or bad. And we can hurt people with our words. We can build up people with our words. We can destroy people with our words. Just in the very atmosphere of today's society, if they decide to cancel you, they destroy your reputation. That's the best thing. That's the greatest thing you've got. As my father used to say, you can have all the money in the world, but when you die, you can only take one thing with you when you leave this world, and that's a good name. Your reputation is everything, and these people will not hesitate to destroy your reputation. They call you a racist or whatever name they want to tag you with. Okay, that's their weapon. Okay, and that's the thing about witchcraft. It is trying to destroy not only your spirit, but your reputation, your well-being, but your happiness. I said this on the show last night. Who gave you your rights?
God.
You have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Who gave you that? No president gave you that.
Nope.
No Congress gave you that. Nobody gave you that, but your Creator gave you that. Those are your God-given rights. Witchcraft wants to take your rights away from you. Your right to happiness. This dark witchcraft. Okay? That's what it says. And it doesn't care how it does it, whether through yours physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. That's the 4 ways the diabolical acts. Okay. You have to guard, I call them the gates to your soul. You have to guard those gates well. Guard them very well, because that's where you can be attacked the most. When you are attacked spiritually, and that is called oppression, not possession, oppression. When you are attacked, and as my grandmother also used to say, if the devil ain't bothering you, something's probably wrong. Okay, because he goes around attacking everybody. That's just his nature. That's the way the diabolical works. And if you're not being attacked, you might want to examine yourself very closely and see what's going on, because something's not right. But that's the way these things will attack you. You got to watch it. They come to you mentally, your mind. They try to get you to believe the teachings of demons. They try to get you to believe all this weird new age philosophy and all this other crap that they keep throwing at you. Your mind is being inundated 24/7, every day of the week, by this propaganda that they're shoving on you in every direction that's coming from. Okay. The biggest tool of evil in this world, my friends, is the media.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's what it's being used for. That's exactly what it's being used for. And it's trying. Have you? And I ask people this: have you recently started entertaining thoughts that you never had before? Are you beginning to kind of get a little mean and you don't realize why? You're
Oh, I know.
being manipulated by the media, by the propaganda that you're being fed, and it is being fed to you for one thing and one thing only, to change you. They want to tear us down. You got to remember the diabolical, whatever name you want to call them, demons, fallen angels, Nephilim, whatever name you want to give them. Okay, they're the bad guys. They're the evil spirits in this world. They want to tear you down piece by piece because you are the creator's child. They hate you for that. Okay. That very reason alone. They want to tear you down piece by piece and build something back that is not your creator's plan. That's what it's all about. And they will stop at nothing to do that. Destroy your reputation, destroy your life, take your children away from you, whatever it takes to get to you, they're going to do that. And we have to be very careful, very, very careful what we're dealing with. I'm not trying to scare people and I'm trying to depress you and make you feel bad. I'm warning you. Let me say this: the longer you play with a snake, the more likely you are to get bitten.
I know that for a fact.
Oh yeah.
Yes, more way than one.
The
Tell about
longer
your,
you
your
live in this world, the more, and you stand for God, the more you're going to get attacked.
you just described everything else.
Well, that. But you know what Jesus said about that? When
Greater
when
is
they
he that
push you
is in you
down,
than he that's in the world. Yes.
stomp you down, when they try to stomp you down, you get back up with a smile on your face because you are exactly where you need to be.
Mhm.
That's what Jesus said. You're doing exactly what you need to be doing. Just like I said earlier, if the devil ain't bothering you, there's something wrong. Beware
Yep,
of the man or woman. Beware of the man or woman that everyone loves.
Right.
that's
Mhm.
right.
Right.
Yeah. Just to a T to describe what I've been going through with gang stalking and targeting. Um, the
Right.
experience I
Oh
had
yeah.
after I left and went to San Diego, I started every day. I started my day with about putting on the armor of God, and it's the only way I could go out of the hotel room or out of my where I was living after I got into a place without just panic attack. And it gave me strength, and what you're describing as far as like the you know talking slandering you and trying to attack your health and taking your child away and all that in the last 8 years, and just unfathomable. Like things have been revealed that I had no like concept that they could even be. One of the people it came to my house that was trying to they convinced me that they were gonna take me to meet um, this famous country music singer's producer, and it was my favorite artist at the time, and still one of my favorite artists. And she was wanting me to uh, drive us to Charlotte, North Carolina, and it was like late November, and she wanted us to stay in this little campground in my van. So I'm thinking this doesn't seem all that right, and I said to her, you know, I just was stalling because it just I was trying to figure out a way to just get her to leave, and she had driven down from West Virginia, and she had been a model and did a lot of like and she was a singer too, but she was kind of like the one of the old hosts in that she was utilized uh, as an asset of the Central Intelligence Agency. And while she was there, she put some software on my computer, but I wasn't listening to her. I wasn't responding to her, and all of a sudden, her voice changed like this.
Oh,
And I mean, it scared the shit out of me, and I just acted like I laid down, acted like I was asleep for the next 2 days until she left, and it was terrifying. Because this was somebody that I had met when I first moved to Nashville, and then just kind of popped up again right at the beginning of, like, right before the pandemic was really announced. And yeah, just
so you laid there. I would have been, I'm out.
it was my
Time
house.
been gone.
I wasn't sure, and I really hadn't felt well. But
I was going to ask you a question.
yes, sir.
Have you ever wondered why there are covens of witches?
There's power in numbers.
Well, one witch is bad enough, okay? Or maybe two or three of them is bad. Not the three weird sisters from Macbeth, okay?
Yeah.
But a coven of witches, the more witches there are, the higher the cone of power rises.
Yep.
That's how this works, okay? The more they can get and the more rituals they perform, the more power they get. So you have to ask yourself, why are all these rituals being performed on the stages by these pop singers, country singers, and all that? What's going on with that? Let me tell you this. If you're in the audience and you're watching these rituals, I got bad news for you. You're participating, whether you know it or not. And look at all these young people that are participating in these rituals. What are they for?
True.
What are the reasons? You know?
Yes.
You know, Dennis, when you talk, I was going to say something about the numbers. In the Bible, it says, when two or three are gathered together in my name, I am in the midst of them.
Mhm.
There is power in two or three, more than one. And with some witches, they literally have to have more than just one person. They have to have another witch or a third witch in order to do very dark black magic.
Because the more power, the more people they got working, the more the demonic power can funnel through these people. The greater the power, it just increases that. See, that's what's going on there. It's a spiritual concept. Now, of course, Christ works differently in that respect. When two or three are gathered together, he said, "There I am in the midst of you." And you know, when you pray for somebody, especially for healing, and like Brenda was talking about, she got saved out of that situation. God's
Yes.
gonna always send us people. He's gonna always send people to us, okay, to help us, whether they're real people or angels. You never know, okay. But He's gonna do that.
But
There's a
Dennis,
reason.
I thought she was real because I see spirits all the time. And when I'm at the hospital, they are active because, well, I'm at a hospital where there's lots of people. And when she came in, I have never had a spirit, angel, or anything touch me and feel warm. And
That could
I
have been
thought
an
she
angel.
was real. But
It
she
could
didn't
have
work
been
there.
an angelic being.
Nobody knew who she was. Nobody even knew who I was talking about. I didn't see her the whole time I was there, and I never seen her again after she left my room. It was incredible. It was mind-blowing.
That's incredible. But you know what? Like I say, they are out there. Okay, there are more of them out there than the bad guys. Okay, and that's a good thing to think about tonight. But before you go to sleep tonight, think about it. There's more of them out there than the bad guys. Okay,
And
they are
our
working.
God and our good God, the good God that is the righteous, truthful, loving God, he is more powerful than the strongest of the demons. He is more powerful. So
But listen
we're
to
on the
this.
right side. We're on the right side.
And here's the thing about it: when two people agree, okay, and they're praying for somebody, they put hands on that person. Okay, you ever notice that? You got to put the hands on, laying on the hands. But when two people agree, what did Jesus say? Whatsoever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven.
Bound in
Whatsoever you loose on earth
shall be
shall be
loosed in
loosed
heaven.
in heaven. I always use that. I use that in prayer a lot. okay? Because that is a promise of authority that he has given us over this stuff. We
Binding and
all
loosing.
tonight must
Yes.
understand that God has given us authority over this darkness. If we'll just exercise that authority, we have that power. As long as we believe in his name, we have that. That's what it says in the Bible. I didn't make that up. Okay. That's
And
what it says.
you said fear. You said fear. That okay. So this is how the enemy gets a foothold. He makes you afraid, and
Yes.
and it says that God doesn't give you a spirit or a demon of fear, but that of a sound
Exactly.
mind.
And
A sound
you
mind.
know,
So we are
Exactly.
not to allow fear to rule our minds.
And that,
and you know,
that
Dennis,
is
let me
what the
tell
bad
you,
guys do.
when
The
when
bad
I was
guys want to get you fearful. The bad
right,
guys want to get you negative. They want to get you worried. They want to get you afraid because that is the enemy of faith. They do not want
yes,
you to have faith because faith is the thing that drives. They can't stand that.
you know, I'm
They
going to
can't
tell
stand.
you the one thing that I did do. I've been in the hospital numerous times. I lost my leg. I had 8 surgeries, and you know, sometimes I was a little afraid. But there was one thing that happened the night before that woman came into my room. For 3 days, I laid there in so much pain that I prayed and I said, Father, if I am not done doing what you need me to do here, I will stay. But if I am done, I am ready. Come and get me. And that is the first time that I've ever been in the hospital that I have, look, I'm tearing up, that I have ever said that. I was not afraid of anything. I was in pain, but I was not afraid. And the
Now,
next
you know
night, that
what?
woman came in my room.
I was going to say something, Brenda. There's a when he tells us not to be afraid, but he also tells us what is it? What I want to say? It's not to not to be, I guess, stupid about it. I mean, in other words, you don't try the spirits, or you don't
Right.
in other words,
Oh, no, no.
when you get a warning from God,
Well, I'm
or
gonna tell
you
you.
heed the warning, you stay humble, and if you need to walk away, you walk away. You keep your peace,
You
and you
walk.
don't try to stand up to
You
these
walk
things, but
humbly.
you just rebuke them.
Right.
Yeah. Walk humbly. Yeah. Walk humbly with your God, as it says in the Bible. But let me say this. You hear a lot about the fear of God, and all that stuff. Actually, what that's really talking about is the respect. Respect is fear.
Yeah.
There's a difference in that.
Yeah.
You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? There's a difference in that. But these things, these dark forces, they want to try to get you negative. They want to give you that attitude in your mind that helps defeat faith. You see what I'm saying? That's the mindset. And look at the very atmosphere that we're living in today. It's nothing but an atmosphere. I did a show on this the other night on Hunting the Shadows. The atmosphere of fear. That's what we're living in. They're promoting that because that's giving them more power over us. You see, that atmosphere of fear. Look, we're even afraid to speak and call somebody he or she anymore.
I
We're
know, right?
afraid to actually say anything about we might offend somebody. We're living in an atmosphere of fear, and it's increasing day by day by day. And who is doing that? You know who's up to it because that's what they want. They want to create this negativity.
Yep.
So, because they feed off of it. I have counseled people all over the world about demonic problems. And the problem they've had with witchcraft and all this other stuff. And here's the one thing I tell them a lot of times, especially when it comes to the demonic, and they kind of look at me like, they give me the side eye a little bit. Are you serious? But here's what I tell them: you got to not give them acknowledgement. You got to ignore it as much as possible, because the more you pay attention to them, the more power you give them. And so that's where I get to the point where you say you got to let go and let God do it, take care
Yeah.
of it. It gets to a certain part where you got to turn it over to somebody else who can take care of it, and you don't need to worry anymore about it. You don't need to give them any more attention and power over your life or in your life.
Yes.
Truth.
Yeah, it says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff to comfort and to guide me." So that's where you have to take that strength and knowing that, your God is with you no matter where you walk through this valley, and
None,
so that's why you don't
it's
fear.
none tambo mala. Fear no evil.
Hmm.
That's very
That,
true. That's very true. You cannot fear it. Don't fear it. Okay. And, we're not talking about being reckless and going out there and doing
Right.
stupid things. Go lay
Right.
down in the middle of the highway
Right.
tonight. Or no, we're not talking about that. We're
Yeah,
talking
don't be
about
stupid.
spiritual stuff here. Yeah, this is a spiritual thing we're talking about. Okay. As we have to all say nowadays, at the beginning of the show, this is for entertainment purposes only. But we're not telling you to do stupid stuff. We're telling you this as a spiritual concept. Fear
Right.
needs to be kept down to a minimum in your life. But these things want to promote that, to be fearful, and we don't need to fall into that trap.
Right.
You know?
Right. Absolutely.
Dennis, you remind me of a bunch of Southern preachers I grew up listening to. Grandparents.
Well,
When we travel.
say this right quick. You know about Psalm 91, one of my favorites, by the way. Okay. What then? Let me say this right quick. You are my shield and my buckler. Does anybody here know what a buckler is?
Mm-hmm.
What's a buckler?
Okay, let me explain what the buckler is. Your shield you carry usually, and we're talking about right-handed people here. Your shield you carry it on your left hand, and your sword in your right. Okay, buckler was a small shield that you wore on your elbow here. Okay, and it was very important because that's what you pulled up over your heart.
Ah.
The heart of your armor. That's what you pulled up over. You are my shield and my buckler.
Okay.
That's God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
Yeah, sure.
don't know why I hadn't heard that. Why have I never heard that before?
But the buckler, yeah, it's another little shield, isn't it? That's interesting. Yeah. That's good, Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
I used to,
Absolutely. But that's how much he covers us if we let him. Okay. That's how much he's looking out for us because all armor, like we said earlier, has chinks in it. We put on the armor of God, but we still got to be careful. Okay. We can't be reckless. We got
Right.
to, we got to regard our enemy. Let me say this: you don't need to love the demons, but you really need to respect what they can do to you if you let them. You know what I'm saying? Just like respect swimming with the sharks. If you swim with sharks, you
You're
better
gonna get bit.
understand you might. Okay, that's just them being sharks. That's a joke. That joke I like about that the Christian missionary is going to be eaten by a lion. And the Christian missionary says to the lion, "Oh, that's just mean, Mr. Lion. Why do you want to do that? That's terrible. Why do you want to eat me?" And the lion says, "Well, I'm a lion. That's what I do."
Right? This is true.
Right.
Just feed it first, and then that way it won't be hungry.
I think Donald Trump always tells that story about the snake, right? The
I
one
hope
about
he chokes
the
on me.
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's the one. Oh yeah, Trump told about the snake. Yeah, the snake. Yeah, that was it.
Where it,
Yeah.
why did you bite me? Well, you knew I was a snake, right?
That's what I do. I'm a snake.
That's what I
Yeah.
do.
I said that if the lion eats me, I hope he chokes on me. Okay.
Yeah, I hope I rot in his mouth and it makes him sick.
I hope it don't. I hope it sticks going down.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think that these powers and these demonic powers are very powerful, and so I think that it that makes you have to trust God even a little bit more and stronger the more
Right.
powerful the encounter. I wanted to share a little story. I have a friend who he was in prison for like 30 years. And while he was in prison, he witnessed these two witches or warlocks that were in there that were being paid money to summon demons and kill people in the prison. So one night, these two witches drew a circle and they were standing in the circle.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
Christian
Susie,
to go kill the Christian, and huh?
Susie, hang on. Your internet's popping up and down, hun. Try it again.
I don't want to get political here, but I just happened to see a thing the other day: wishes for Kamala. But anyway, that would not surprise me. That does not surprise me at all. Let me say one more thing, okay? And you see this happen a lot with different things, Bruhera and all this other stuff that goes on. You cannot fight witchcraft with witchcraft, okay? You cannot fight the darkness with darkness. It just don't work that way. Don't fool yourself into believing that. It don't work that way.
Right?
That's why I used to like the movie Constantine. It's really neat to watch, but he's doing it the wrong way. You do not fight evil with evil.
Right.
That just don't
Right?
work. That's the way, Jesus himself said, a house divided cannot stand. Satan does not work against himself as much as as demons hate each other, and they do hate each other just about as much as they hate us. Not quite, but just about. They still work together because they are highly organized, better than any military, any corporation, any government on this planet. Okay? They are working together because they are united by one thing and one thing only. They hate the children of God.
Yep.
You said
Right?
That is
you
it.
said
That's
house divided, and that's the goal of the aristocracy and the ruling class right now is to like through that control
Yeah.
mechanism through the news.
They
And
want to divide us. They want to
Yes.
divide us and split us up and have us hate each other. That way they control us better.
And that way, we're more
Okay.
compliant. Allow. I mean, there's a civil war going on right now. It's
So
just silent,
oh, hang on, Susie.
or it's just hidden, and that's
Yeah.
through the gang stalking thing. And the thing is, what they're doing and setting up and creating through AI and through people's neurological response to trauma and to being terrorized and stalked and all kinds of weird stuff happen, is the ability to induce fear and terror states in people without actually having to dispatch people to terrorize them, so that they can override or I guess insert neurological like pathology that causes you to have that terror sensation or that fearful fight or flight kind of moment that we get from when we're actually in danger, or our brain perceives that it's as danger, and that way they can control us more easily, and make us more compliant. I guess behavior modification, thought control.
Called
Yeah,
demons.
that's like the like the material world aspect of the spiritual battle that you're describing. That's something I've been dealing with for the last 8 years at least, and in a really personal way. So, this is very profound conversation. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Well, I
tangent.
think that I think, Tommy, you are right. There is a war going on right now, but it is definitely spiritual because Dennis is correct. There's so much dark, and it's getting darker. People are fighting more amongst themselves. There's so much hate going on right now, and people just aren't thinking common knowledge. United people. We need to be united, and they're just so many are
That's what
letting
I
them separate.
That's what I said to somebody the other day. Have you noticed people are meaner? You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? Have you noticed
yes,
that? Hatred is increasing tenfold day after day, more and more and more, and they're becoming more selfish than I have ever seen before. They're turning, and this is what. And you talk about game stalking and stuff like that. This is what cults and all do. They get you, and the demonic does this as well. They get you to turn inward on yourself, so that you can no longer see anyone who loves you. You can no longer see God. You can no longer see the things that you really need. They isolate you. They want to get you isolated to the point where they can have absolute control over you. That's possession, by the way. Oppression moves into possession. That's what they're up to. See, that's why that's why they're doing the things they do that way. They want to eventually end up possessing you, invading you like an enemy country on another country, kind of a thing. Okay, that's what's going on with that, and that's what you see increasing in the world around us today. This hatred, people just getting downright meaner. I mean, they holler at you, they throw curses at you, they a finger every time you turn around on the roads, in the supermarkets. They even look at you with hatred. You don't even have to be saying anything. They even give you the dirtiest looks, everything. This is happening more and more and more. Why? Because the very atmosphere of our planet, and we're going to see this change even drastically get worse. It's changing around us day after day. We're coming closer to the end of days. Okay, you're going to see nature turn against us. You're going to see animals start doing things they never done before. You're going to see stuff go really haywire. I hate to say it, but that's what's coming. And you're seeing the beginning of it right now. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Tommy, when they make you fear, or when it make you fear, you put out like a negative, torturous energy, like you're being tortured when you're in fear. So they actually feed off of that. That evil feeds off of that, and they gain more power and control because you're actually like giving them negative food, or that's the food that they're living off of. Is that fear that they're creating in you. So when you don't give them that, when you're not
That's
afraid
very
and you know that you trust God, they get nothing from that. They get no energy from you whatsoever.
the more the more you pray, the more positive mind you get, the more you turn over to God, and He says, let me take, put it on me, and I'll take it from you. That's what He said. Put it on me, and I'll make your burden lighter. Okay. The more you pray, the closer you get to your Creator. Uh, the better it gets, and the better your mind gets, the more balanced your spirit becomes, the more positive light around you. You might say, okay, I'll describe it that way. That is becomes a bumper against this darkness. That's what you want. Like they say on Star Trek, you want to raise your shields, okay, and you want to keep them raised against the enemy and the fiery darts that they throw at you. You can get to the point where that bumper is in place so much you don't even have to think about it anymore. You know what I'm saying? God is taking care of you. God will watch over you. God will give you that strength. But you have to take authority because God has given you that authority. He's given all of us that authority. It's ours. It's a free gift. He paid the price for that. Okay. He has the keys of death and hell. Okay. He paid the price. He won all that for us. We have that authority. All we've got to do is receive it and believe it and use it. Exercise that authority. He said, what I've done, you'll do greater than what I've done. You will cast out devils, demons. You will tread on snakes and scorpions, and no power of the enemy will be able to harm you. That's a very bold, that's a very wonderful promise when you look at it. And when God promises you something, you can take it to the bank. It's better than gold.
That's right.
So I was telling you that story earlier, and so let me finish it. It was my friend who witnessed these two warlocks. They drew a circle, they stood inside the circle, they were calling a very powerful demon to go in and murder this Christian. And the first night they failed. Was the second night they stood in the circle, they called on this demon. And what happened was the demon was not able to attack this Christian because of his faith in God. And the demon came back and literally blew these two warlocks into body parts all over the place. And my friend had to pick up arms and legs and everything. So the demon was not able to attack the Christian, but it went after them because they called on it, and it had to go get them. Yeah.
That's the thing you got to remember. It's very important point you made there. When you put forth a curse, hex, whatever, you're going to get it back. Okay, it is a darkness that you're sending out. You're going to get a piece of it back. Let me say this, and I have heard people do this. God can actually send that curse back.
Yes.
Sevenfold back to that person. Think about that a moment. 7 times worse than they give it to you. Okay, think about that a minute. That is what's going to happen. They run that risk. When you do dark magic, you run that risk. You got to understand that's the price you may pay for cursing somebody. You're going to get it back if you don't watch out. And if it comes back worse than you send it out. Yeah. And here's what I've told people about this before. If you think somebody has cursed you or put a spell on you, you pray for that person. You get on your knees and you pray for that person. You say, God, touch that person. Send this thing back to them. And you watch what happens.
Susie, didn't you say that you did that and you felt bad because it wasn't good?
Do what?
Didn't you say that that's what you had done, that you had done a prayer and you kind of felt bad because it wasn't a nice one, and basically what you were saying was put all this back on that person?
Return to sender, you know, like that song Elvis sings, return to sender. Yeah, in other words, you know, we reap what we sow. So if you sow good words and good blessings for people, then you reap those things. But if you sow bad words and bad things,
cast your bread upon the waters, and will come back sevenfold. It didn't say bread; it can be bad bread or good bread.
Yes.
Okay, that's just the way. It is a spiritual concept. What you put out in this life. Yes. If you put out good, positive stuff, you're going to get that back. If you put out bad, negative stuff, guess what? You're going to get that back. That's just the way that works. And that's the price these people pay. That's how foolish they are. They don't understand that. They never get that concept. If you deal with demons and devils, you're not going to come out unscathed. Okay, I have seen people right now. I know of people right now that are lying 6 foot under tonight, put there by these demonic forces because they thought they could deal with them. What did I say earlier? You give him an inch, he'll take the whole ruler.
Yep.
And that includes your life.
Right.
They can get you to the point.
That's right.
They want to get you to the point. Like I said, they isolate you. They beat you down, bless you, whatever they want to do to you. They get you to the point where they got you, and then they'll kill you.
Yep. You always have to pay for what you ask them for. They're always going to come looking for payment.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh yeah, there's always a price to pay. Yeah, it's like that saying, the devil to pay. Oh yeah, he always comes back looking for payment. Yeah.
And
Yes.
these people sometimes they don't realize the child of God that they're sending the demon after, that God is protecting that child of God, and that demon is going to go back and want payment, and it's going to go back to the sender.
I heard,
So,
let me tell you a quick story. I heard about a witch. Okay, she became a Christian, but she told this story after she became a Christian. She said that when I was a witch, she was a teacher. She said I was a witch, and I would sit there in my class and I would cast spells on these little children. Okay, think about that a minute. Okay, she would casting spells on these little children. She said I could tell which one had praying parents because the spells would bounce off of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yep.
I believe that.
You have the authority. We have the authority. We
Yeah.
just need to exercise. And prayer is how you exercise that authority, by the way.
Oh yeah.
and we will be, like Brenda, like, okay, so we had a situation where we were under attack, and it was like, Dennis, there was like 4 people that were blowing up my phone that night that were all getting attacked
All at
by
the
a
same
demon,
time.
all
Yep,
at the
not
same
just
time,
me.
and so these things are real, and they do go, if they say somebody's a witch and they send a curse or demon after you and it can't get you, that demon will go after those that you love or closest to you, your friends or something, to harm them. So you not only have to pray a protection for yourself, but you got to pray protection for your loved ones and those that you care about, because they could be under attack as well. I mean, so this thing is, we've got to pray
Let me
for
say,
those.
the most powerful thing you can do, and I do this in prayer as well, as you say this, you say, Lord God Almighty, place the blood of the Lamb of God upon the doorway of my heart. You say that, the blood of Jesus upon you, that target will be no longer in effect. Okay, that armor will hold. Okay, because the blood of Jesus is all powerful. You remember that old song, "There's power in the blood"?
Oh, yeah.
There really is. Okay, it is true.
Wash
There
with the
is
blood.
power in the blood. They can't stand that. Okay, and they have no effect against it at all. It's just like water off of a duck's back. That's it. You will be waterproof.
I have to play my "Wash in the Blood" song, a rendition of it. It's an old gospel song that I do. "Washed in the Blood."
I didn't know you did a gospel song. Tommy also writes music and plays and sings too, and he paints. So he's our multi-talented guy.
I put out a
That's a good old song.
I put out an album of gospel tunes that I had written back in as part of a awareness campaign and fundraiser for after the shootings at Virginia Tech.
I said the other day, some myths are warnings, and some legends are true. Everything has a foundation in it. The Bible says the blood is the life. Okay, we've been talking a lot about this comparative vampirism and all that stuff. The blood, true, there is some kind of spiritual thing with blood. Okay, absolutely.
I think a lot of that has to do with bloodlines, Dennis. Like there's a bloodline of the Christ conscious people, and then there's the bloodline of the Luciferian. And it's a battle between the two bloodlines and they know that, but a lot of Christians are not aware that there really is a bloodline war.
If you look at the Bible, okay, look at the Bible. It's a genealogical book. That's what it is. Okay, go back and look at it. It is genealogical record from Adam to Christ, showing you his bloodline. line, which was untainted, which was not messed with. Okay, why? Because the Nephilim, the fallen angels, tried to screw up God's creation DNA wise. Okay, they
Yep.
try to screw us up. That's where you get all these hybrid animals and cryptids at, and all this other stuff. Okay, that's where a lot of this stuff is coming from. They not only screwed around with people, they did so with animals. All of God's creation. This
Right.
world we're living in, is infected with darkness and sin.
Yes.
One day that infection's going to be gone. But until then, that's what we're dealing with. Okay, and we got to understand that. And it's by design, not God. God planned it. Fallen angels and Satan himself. Satan is so smart. If you can talk a third of the angels out of heaven, by gosh, you're a pretty darn good con man in my book.
Right.
You're a pretty smart guy. You can do that. And that's what he did. And
Well,
he has
Dennis,
a plan for us, and it's not a good plan.
that's
What
right.
it all comes down to, the war of good and evil. Good
Dennis,
against evil.
we
Satan's plan
have
against God's plan.
right. We have about 10 minutes left, so this is what I'm going to do. Because Tommy, I have a request because there is somebody in the audience that wants to hear you sing your song. So first, what we're going to do is, Dennis, tell everybody where they can find you and how to contact you and about your shows and where they can get your books.
Okay. The books are available on Amazon. Just look up Dennis W. Carroll. I have 3 shows on every week. The first show comes on Monday nights at 9. All my shows are 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. The first one is The Road Less Traveled, Monday night, with my good friend Gerald Fountain. And then Wednesday night is Hunting the Shadows. And Friday night is Paranormal Point of View. You can get in touch with me on my website, DennisWCarroll.com, or you can contact me, DennisWCarroll@gmail.com, if you want me for anything on that. And when we get through the song, I will definitely do a prayer for all of us to close it with if you
Okay.
want to. Okay. All right.
That'll be absolutely fine. Hey, Tommy, you got your guitar?
Yeah, I haven't played the song in a long time. I was gonna maybe do it just a cappella, but
Either or. One of your songs, I'm sure.
it's yeah, I can't remember the chord structure off the top of my head, but it is. Have you been to Jesus for his cleansing power? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you fully trusting in his grace this hour? Come be washed in the blood of the Lamb. Are you washed? Are you washed in the blood, in that so cleansing blood of the Lamb? Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Come be washed in the blood of the Lamb.
Yay.
Yeah,
Tommy,
yeah,
Tommy entertains us a lot. We like it.
It's a little bit different original melody and stuff, which was all shape notes, and didn't have much feel behind it, so I modernized it. That was one that I would regularly play at the church I was the contemporary music director at and youth pastor. Dennis, did you write the book The Road Less Traveled? Did you write a book?
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the name of my podcast, The Road Less Traveled.
Yes, sir.
You remember it's from I think Robert Frost poem. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, to roads diverged and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
Yeah, I've got a book with that title, and I can't remember the author's name off the top of my head that I read several years ago. But for some reason, when you said that in your podcast, it really just. I mean, somebody else recently mentioned it on the show, like maybe about a month ago. I can't remember. So I was just curious if you were the author of that one.
Oh, the author of The Road Less Traveled.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't think Dennis. You didn't
Robert
write that book, did you?
Frost.
Yeah. I don't know who it is. I have to look it up. But
I think
Dennis,
it's Robert Frost.
Well,
Yeah.
Robert Frost, he wrote the poem, but there's a book by a Christian author that is titled "The Road Less Traveled."
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
I was just wondering if you had written it, because it's been a long time since I read it, but it's just sitting on top of my bookshelf in my living room. Yeah, so I just noticed it the other day. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Well, Dennis, do you want to go ahead and end us in prayer, please, sir?
Yeah. Since we had, such a dark subject, I always like to end with prayer. Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight. As your children, we humble ourselves before you with our petition. That you forgive us of our sins, that you hear our voice tonight, and that you see us with the blood of your Son, Jesus Christ, upon us. We ask that you give us your protection, your guidance, and your peace and power tonight. We ask that you give us the authority over this darkness that surrounds us in this world, that you hold us in your hand, that you endow us with the armor of God that we need to stand against these forces of darkness and evil in our world. We ask, Lord, that you send us the protection of your holy angels to stand around us and watch over my friends Brenda and Susie and Tommy and everyone listening to this broadcast tonight. I ask that you touch their hearts, their minds, their bodies, and souls, that you become real to them in a way that they have never known before. And we ask this now, humbly ask this, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost, and in the one name that all power is given in heaven and earth, and that is the power of Jesus Christ. We humbly pray. Amen.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dennis, for coming on, and we would love to have you back. So
It's always a
yeah, and we will get with you about coming back one day, and hopefully sometime soon. We really enjoyed the conversation tonight. It was absolutely enlightening. Taught us
absolutely.
quite a bit.
Yeah, Dennis, I want to say thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your faith. Thank you for your words of encouragement. And thank you for your research and what you're doing. And God bless you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
and God bless you all. And I hope you have a good evening and all. What's left of this evening? No.
Oh yeah.
I hope you all have.
We usually go backstage and send the link out to a few people. I see Steven Yesel just jumped into there, so I'll probably send it to him. And then we sit there and we talk about things. And so we have a really good group of people. And we're really, Susie and I, we just love our little show. We really do. And we love all the people that watch, everybody out there and the newcomers. Thank you for coming on in and watching. And we were glad to have you. And we are going to say good night. And I will be posting next weekend shows. So please keep an eye out for them. And y'all have a very safe and good night. And like always, please be kind to one another. Good night, everybody.
Goodbye for now from Beyond the Box. Inside, outside, upside, downside, beyond the box. Please join us again for Beyond the Box, Friday and Saturday evenings from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern. Join us for more intel bombs with our extraordinary guests. Good night, Putin. Good night, Tucker Carlson. Inside, outside, upside, downside, beyond the box.